I can't not say anything anymore. I've been a Republican since I was old enough to vote. I was the president of the second largest Republican club in the state of Florida, serving in the military, serving in law enforcement. I guess I've had the traditional sort of conservative Republican background. I had never seen this cult-like rabidness among the Republican base that they had for Trump. And it was almost like no matter what he did, no matter what he said, it was all fake news. It was all a big conspiracy, and it was all the media out to get him. And it just disheartened me that I couldn't go to a Republican meeting anymore without it being all about Trump. And that's the thing about Trump. Everything is all about him. And so the Republican meetings became all about Trump. As a military veteran, I mean, there's been a number of things over the years that have upset me about Trump, going back to, okay, he dodged the Vietnam War using a bogus medical deferment. Well, I can remember all of the people like me disparaging Bill Clinton for the same thing. Well, here's Donald Trump, who has done exactly the same thing, and they just give him a pass. When you're firing every inspector general, so there's no oversight over your authoritarian things that you're doing, and you're threatening to sue or prosecute John Bolton for publishing a memoir, when you're using military tactics to clear a public park, Lafayette Square, using the military to suppress First Amendment. These are things that libertarians are completely against. And there's a significant number of libertarians in the Republican Party. I just avoided watching the news just because I just couldn't take it. And then, the coronavirus hit. And what it did is it forced us all inside. And it forced me, and along with probably the rest of the country, into watching the news, because we wanted information about the virus and what was happening in the world. I wanted to hear from Fauci. I wanted to hear from Birx. I wanted to hear from the Surgeon General. But all we got was Trump, who would get up there, dominate the whole meeting, ramble on about Korea and, Flynn and all these other topics, when we're all trying to get information about the pandemic. And then a reporter would ask Fauci a question. In the middle of Fauci answering, Trump would interrupt him. And it drove me crazy. I went to some of my friends and I'm like, you know what? I haven't wanted to speak up against him because I didn't want to burn bridges. I have friendships in the Republican Party here that are decades long. And I knew that if I spoke out publicly or said anything negative about Trump, a lot of these friends would turn on me. And so I just told my friend at that time, I said, you know what? I can't not say anything anymore. I'm concerned about the 2020 election, not only for the country, but also for the Republican Party. Trump has very strong authoritarian streak to him. He cannot tolerate disagreement. He cannot tolerate oversight. And so the only thing right now keeping those instincts to run amok is the fact that he wants to get reelected in 2020. Once that's gone, I think he'll be way worse over the next 4 years. So that's why I fear for the country. The cult of personality in the Republican Party being all about Trump needs to be exercised.